We are here for Spartan Up podcast, and we're gonna be Udo. Who is Udo?
Udo is one of the most interesting health practitioners I've ever seen in my life, and he is going to tell you everything that you're doing wrong with your diet right now, what's going to kill you, and how to change everything so you can live nearly forever.
It's basically one simple thing with oil, but we could talk about it. Who do we got? We got Tim on our right. We got Johnny. We got Joe.
On the far right, really.
Namaste.
And be ready to learn.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Aftershocks. Be open and hear it all with Aftershocks open-ear headphones. They deliver situational awareness and comfort that's unmatched by traditional in-ear or over-the-ear headphones. Go to spartan.aftershocks.com and you can save $50 off a wireless headphone bundle.
We are here for Spartan Up podcast with Udo. Who the heck is Udo?
Yeah, what's an Udo?
What's an Udo? We're sitting here in Vancouver, and I can't believe how much you know about health and wellness. You've been doing this forever.
69 years.
69 years studying how to be healthier, how to be better, how to be more fit.
Yeah.
And
more fulfilled as well. Yeah.
And more fulfilled. So let's go way back. How'd you get into this?
Well, I came out of the war in Europe, and it was really scary. You know, I was 2, and I was a refugee, and there was nothing to rely on. So I got interested in finding things to rely on. So I went into science, how things work. Then I went into bioscience, how creatures work. Then I went into psych, how thinking works. And then I said, oh, actually, I need to know how I work. So I ended up with self-knowledge. So that's my territory.
That's how you got into it.
It's all about human nature and human nature and human beings.
The people, not just the people watching this, but people in general want a quick fix. They want a pill. They want something that's going to work. Over these years of studying how the body works, how you work, what are some key takeaways?
Well, first of all, the quick fix is death. Everything else takes effort.
Right.
Okay, so
right.
You really want to put it in perspective. Of all of the things in nutrition, damaged oils do more damage to physical health than any other part of nutrition because they're really, really sensitive and they need a lot of care, and we put them in the frying pan. So fried foods fry health.
Damaged oil would be an oil that is cooked.
Any of the cooking oils, any of the oils in plastic bottles, colorless, odorless, tasteless, the oils that are everywhere.
The oils that are in everybody's kitchen, the canola oils, the olive oils. First of all, what's a good oil, what's a bad oil before we ruin the oil?
Well, there are two things. One is there are essential fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. Those are essential. It means your body can't make them. You've got to have them. You've got to get them from outside. If you don't get enough, you'll go down. If you don't get enough long enough, you die. If you bring them back in adequate amounts before you die, then all of your problems that come from not getting enough are reversed because life knows what to do, provided we take responsibility for bringing them in. So those two are essential.
Right.
That's really important.
Omega-3s and omega-6s.
Omega-3 and omega-6.
Where are we going to get those from?
Northern omega-3s come from northern and southern, more closer to the poles, because they're heating oils. They're high energy oils. Right. You get a little bit in walnuts, a little bit in soybeans. Flax is the richest source. That was my first oil that I developed. Very sensitive to damage, more sensitive than the cooking oils. So you have to take a lot of care to make them. And my claim to fame is I developed a method for making sensitive oils with health in mind. So you get those. So flax is probably the richest source, poorly balanced, not enough omega-6s. And then chia seed has some. And
shouldn't we are we better off just eating the food or taking the oil?
Eating the food is a good idea because oils usually come in food. But I found that just taking seeds for my oils, and I was using sunflower and sesame for omega-6, flax for omega-3. I can't eat enough seeds, even in summer, to get my skin soft and velvety, because that's that's our measure of optimum. In winter, you need more. I couldn't even do that in summer. So take the seeds, but on top of that, if your skin is dry, or your energy is low, then take the oil as well.
As a supplement.
But then
as a supplement.
Yeah, and well, it's not a supplement, it's a food oil, and you mix it in food,
right.
Tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day, mixed in food and intake spread out over the course of the day. So that's not a supplement, that's a food oil.
That's a food.
Yeah.
And so now let's get into this idea that we typically, all of us, take oil and cook it.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's a problem.
Fried oils fry health. Fried foods fry health. Frying is the worst thing we've ever invented to do with food. And the most sensitive nutrients, the oils that need the most care, we give them the least care. That's why so many problems come from damaged oils. And it'll take maybe, if you've been using the junk for many years, maybe it'll take a year.
To clean yourself up.
To clean it out, because your body turns over 98% every year.
Got it.
So you raise your standard.
You completely rebuild yourself in 1 year.
98%.
98%.
Yeah.
All right.
7 years, 100%.
So it's just a toenail that's left after the year, right?
yeah, or whatever, right?
Right, yeah.
But the point is that why healing is even possible is because the body turns over so fast.
Right.
Because if it didn't turn over, you could never fix it when it went wrong. So that's the good news.
Yeah,
Is
right.
You
don't have to give up. If you've been smoking and drinking and eating unhealthy and fried foods, you don't have to give up.
Yeah. No.
One year you can clean yourself up.
1 year you can have rebuilt 98% of your body to a higher standard, but set a good standard.
So let's go beyond oil. If you only could do 3 things in a year, what would they be?
Oil would be the first.
Healthy oil, uncooked.
Yeah, uncooked, used after the food comes off the heat. You can put it in hot soup, on steamed vegetables, compatible with all foods. So that would be the first one.
Yep.
Second one would be probiotics, because they're what keeps us in touch with the natural environment. They came from nature. We cook our foods, we kill them, we need to replace them every day. Right. I brush my teeth with probiotics. I wake up without bad breath in the morning.
Wow.
Very cool.
Wow.
So that's number 2. Number 3, if you cook your foods, replace the enzymes you destroyed when the food was cooked. So that's number 3. And then I would say eat more plant-based foods with lots of fiber in them.
Yeah.
That's good for the probiotics. And greens is the food on the planet. So you asked for 3 and I gave you 5.
That's okay. Are we a believer in meats and animal protein?
The research is very clear. If you want the longest life and the best health, you eat plants. Whole food, plant-based diet with B12.
Got it.
What isn't clear is how much of the problems that come from animal products, and that includes dairy and eggs and all the different meats, including fish. What the problems that come from them, in part, come from how badly they're made, because we're not getting wild animals in line with nature and eating meat in line with nature. Right. What we're doing is we're mass producing them with hormones and pesticides and chemicals, and then the way we keep the meat fresh. I mean, it's crazy what they do in some of the stores to make it look like it's fresh.
So
we don't know how much of the damage comes from the nature of meat and how much comes from the processing. Processing is a big issue. If you ate raw meat, like a dog would, like a wolf would,
100 years ago,
or like they do in sushi,
right,
or sashimi, right? Much easier to digest. Much less problems from eating it raw. But then if it's contaminated, you got to cook it.
Right.
And when you cook it, then you're changing things and you're losing stuff. And if you fry it, then you're actually turning meat into poison.
What everybody says, well, Joe, in moderation.
Yeah. 3 times a year, 12 times a year is enough to get you B12. That comes from animals. You don't have to do meat more than that.
So once a month, you could have a steak.
But get one that's like really clean.
Free range, grass-fed, yeah,
organic.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And fish, we got a problem because the ocean's contaminated.
Well, the fish is the dirtiest meat on the planet now because everything goes downhill. All the junk we put on goes downhill, ends up in the ocean. If it's oil soluble, it ends up in the fatty fish. So salmon is worse now than cod. Cod is 1% fat. Salmon is 8% fat. Higher on the food chain will have more toxins in it.
Got it.
So you want to live low on the food chain as much as possible, and plants are at the bottom of the food chain. Right.
And you're getting a little contamination with plants just because
you're getting some, but you get the least because they're the lowest on the food chain.
Yeah. And oils, is olive oil good if it's not cooked?
Olive oil has no omega-3s.
Got it.
Those 99% of the population doesn't get enough for optimum health, so that doesn't help. It has 20% omega-6. The rest your body can make out of sugar, right?
Right.
What's good about it is if it's extra virgin olive oil and they're not lying about what's in the oil, which they're also doing, it isn't damaged by the processing because it's made by a different process. They're not using Drano, window washing acid, bleach, and feed it
to make it, to manufacture it.
Yeah, so that's the part, that's why it's popular.
Got it.
The processing of oils causes so many health problems. It is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I guess we don't see that, right? Out of sight, out of mind.
You don't see it. You know, we used to say when we were kids, you say, well, the industry would never do anything that was harmful to us.
Sure.
Now you say that and people laugh because we've heard so many things where people cut corners.
Sure.
And don't actually provide, and lie about what they're doing. Now everybody knows that.
I worked on Wall Street for a long time, and it's not that there are evil people on Wall Street. It's the system is designed for companies to make more and more money every quarter.
Yeah.
And so you have no choice but to then start stripping expenses.
Right.
And so if there's a cheaper way to make the oil, right?
Yeah, I would like to add something to that is when making money is your most important goal, then health is not your most important goal. So it depends on what your goal is. If health is your goal, you have to do things differently than if just making money by all means possible is your goal.
It's funny, right? Because a friend of mine who's
And why I think that's important is what makes this planet precious and special is it has life on it. So everything is about life and supporting life and encouraging life and helping life. So we need to be working for life, and then money becomes a good tool. If we're working for money, then life becomes a tool.
Right.
And so people will sacrifice life if money is more important to them, and people will sacrifice money sometimes if life is more important to them.
I agree with that.
And that's how you can tell.
I was recently with a bunch of wealthy people in Europe, and really wealthy people, 300 of them.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at how many people were unhealthy. And I thought to myself, you should see a positive correlation between being, physically fit and being financially fit.
Yeah.
And actually, you don't see one.
You don't, no. But I would like to talk to those 300 people about how to create a system of health and a system of understanding ourselves where the contentment that lives inside of us is actually practiced, accessible to us. And we grow the foods in order to make this the best quality of life planet.
But that's only going to happen if people eat healthy.
Well, this is going to be part of it. But the first thing is, my first nutrient is inspiration. When people are not inspired, they're not going to look after their body.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because if your life is crummy, why would you take care?
We'll be right back to the podcast, but first, we are talking about Aftershok's headphones from beautiful Lake Tahoe, where we're having our World Championships.
It's cool. I still get to hear good music. It's a good sound, but I know what's going on around me, and that's huge.
And especially for Spartan, these things stay on. Like, you can work out super hard, and as rigorous as you get, they're right there with you. And I always found it annoying because the things would fall out and all that other stuff, and this is just wireless, and it's awesome.
Everyone hates Spartan burpees, but you're going to hate it less with these on because they're going to stay on, and you can hear. So,
do you know, where do they go to get their bundle deal?
Absolutely. So there's a really cool bundle, actually. If they go to spartan.aftershokz.com, and Aftershokz is AFTERSHOKZ.
That's a ZA for Americans.
Yeah, they'll get $50 off a wireless headphone bundle.
Yep. Keep your ears free.
Hey, what's up, Spartans? Anne LaRue here. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We'll get back to you in a moment. But for now, we're going to continue on our 31 habits of the healthiest Spartans. So today we're really focusing on mindful eating. We've all experienced this. You're sitting there watching television, and before you know it, whatever snack that you had in front of you is gone, and you didn't even realize that you ate it. Part of mindful eating is realizing that when we eat, we do more than just chew, swallow, repeat. Right? So in order to keep ourselves having our portions in check and have better mindful eating practices, we really want to think about satisfying all of the senses. This may sound a little silly, but trust me, it'll just become habit after a while, and you'll notice yourself being fully satisfied. So first off, I want you to take a moment when you're about to eat and really look at the food. Enjoy it. When you see a delicious meal coming to you in the restaurant, you look at it and it's beautiful. You're partially eating with your eyes. That's great because you're satisfying the sense. The next, I want you to really taste that first bite. No bite is ever going to taste as good as that first bite, and we all know that. So really take time to taste it. Then, as you're eating, really chew the food, taste it, enjoy it. Remove the distractions. How many of us are stuck on our phones or we're eating at work, and before we know it, again, the food is gone, but we didn't really eat. So many things satisfy our hunger: taste, texture, the actual process of filling the stomach, but the number one key thing is being mindful while you're eating. Hope you enjoyed this habit. Let's get back to the podcast. If you'd like a full downloadable of all of our 31 habits, go to life.spartan.com/habits.
When people are not inspired, they're not going to look after their body.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because if your life is crummy, why would you take care? Right? Some people, when their life becomes crummy enough, to kill themselves.
So how do you uncrummy it?
The thing that is not talked about, and this is the other part of health, right, is that something makes us alive. It's an energy. When you bring your awareness to that energy, you actually feel content. You feel like you have everything. I would say to you, I'm the richest guy I know, and it has nothing to do with money, because life itself is a rich experience. If you get close enough, but you got to take time, you do, and then you got to take maybe an hour a day, shut up, get quiet, feel what it feels like to be alive. And when you get good at that, it takes a little practice, like everything does. Yeah. When you get good at that, you say, wow, I have everything. All of a sudden, you're not driven to, I got to make more money at all costs. Yeah. Because actually, one day you die, your body dies, the money stays in the bank, you ain't taking it with you. Right. Why not live? The fullness of the gift of life.
Give us a couple of tips on how to do that, on how to be present, how to be content and excited with ourselves.
Well, the first thing I would say to you right now, okay, what does it take for you to feel fully present? So you have to take your awareness a little bit, feel your toes, feel your genitals, and feel your heart, and feel your mind, feel the earth you're on, and look around. Get present to all of it. You can't be in your head doing that. So it's literally just about getting out of your head and becoming present in your being and your surroundings.
Somebody said to me once, if you're in your head, you're behind enemy lines.
You're in front of enemy lines. You're getting pot shots taken at yourself, right?
I become really present.
The other thing that's useful is you take some time, I call it voluntary solitude. Yeah. You say a half an hour or 15 minutes, you sit down, you shut up, you turn off all your technology, you turn all of that off, and you just sit down and you just breathe and just feel into yourself. Yeah. Look into yourself. Yeah. Listen into yourself. You can hear life, see life, feel life, and taste life.
Shut down 15 minutes a day.
Yeah. And then you get rested. When you sit down and do that, you get more rest from doing that than when you're sleeping. Yeah. In fact, an hour of doing that quietness inside when you're awake, fully present and completely relaxed, right? Fully present, completely relaxed. Yeah. In an hour of that, you get the equivalent of 4 to 6 hours of sleep. It's that good.
So I'm just thinking, you might have just added days to my work day. If I could do that, then I don't have to sleep at night, and I can get more done.
Well, that's true. That is the stupid way of looking at it, right? But the other thing is, if you spread your sleep out, 2 hours, or maybe an hour, you can actually go on 4 hours of sleep, but then you sleep 4 times a day.
Sure.
And you can do that if you got to get more done. Yeah. But really, is it about getting more done?
I want to change more lives. Yeah. So that's my whole. I wish the government paid me to do this.
And the greatest change you can do for people's lives is if you can help them get in touch with the magnificence of their existence.
Yes.
Because then it's like, okay, I'm taken care of. And then when I feel taken care of, when I don't feel taken care of, everything I do is going to have an element in it of saying, what's going to be in it for me? Right? Because I need to feel taken care of. That's the biggest drive in a human being, is we want to feel taken care of. Yeah. When I feel taken care of, it's like, hey, doesn't have to be about me anymore. Right. Where can I help?
Sure.
There's nothing else left to do when I feel fulfilled except to help.
So one...
And then it's solid. And then it's like, it's not like...
You got a solid foundation.
It's solid, yeah. I'm in a solid foundation.
Yeah.
I feel taken care of.
So let's just go through it again. So one, because we're looking for inspiration, we're looking to inspire a bunch of people out there. One is to just be present and toes on the ground.
Yeah.
Basically understand who you are, where you are, everything around you.
Yeah.
Two is completely relax. 15 minutes,
at
an
the
hour.
same time.
At the same time.
No, at the same time. Fully present, completely relaxed. And then take time by yourself to do that where you don't have distractions. Oh, you've got to deal with this, or you've got to deal with that, right? Just make a place for that in your life. And you have to make that place because there's always going to be something to do if you don't make that place.
And what's the third one?
Third one?
Yeah, give me a third tip for people to find inspiration.
Oh, okay. Then the first thing that'll happen, because we're so addicted to doing, you will feel bored because there's nothing going on. That's a good sign. Fall in love with boredom. Fall in love with boredom. And when you do the practice, sometimes you don't, the lights don't, you don't get fireworks or anything. And you say, nothing happened, but you notice that your whole day goes better.
Right.
Because you didn't feel like you got what you expected. You're never going to get what you expect because this is beyond expectations. Yeah. It's way beyond expectations. But your day goes better when you've taken time to be fully present, completely relaxed.
And a little bored.
A little bored. Yeah, sometimes some people find it boring. I don't find it boring. I find it totally fascinating what all is in me. And anybody who looks and gets good enough at doing that, it's usually the boredom is between, when you cut off from the world and everything going on and you're not into the...
Well, you're not chasing. It sounds like you're not chasing, because we're all chasing every day.
There's nothing to chase because you already have it all.
Right.
That's the point. You came loaded with it. When you slid out of your mother's body, you were already loaded with everything you're looking for now.
Everything you need.
And when you think money is going to be your source of happiness, no, happiness is going to be your happiness. And, it's like it doesn't matter how much money you make, just like they're not healthier than other people, richer people, they're also not happier.
Yeah, no.
Right?
They studied a bunch of billionaires. And a tiny, tiny percentage were actually happy.
Yeah, I know. And I know a guy in Germany, when the bubble burst, 2008, he was worth $9 billion. He lost $500 million, so 1/18 of his wealth, jumped in front of a train and killed himself. Because that little bit of money, he still had $8.5 billion. Money did not make that guy happy.
Wow.
Why? Because happiness is not real happiness. It doesn't have to be the consequence of something. It's actually a state of being.
Right.
And that state of being is already there. You just have to pick between all the states of being you can have.
My little trick with it, I believe that if you have everything, you appreciate nothing. If you have nothing, you appreciate everything.
Sometimes it's like that.
And so what I try to do is I just take myself back to a place where I don't have anything, and I appreciate, the plane landed. As long as the plane lands, I'm happy. I don't need Wi-Fi. I don't need a seat. Yeah. I don't need first class, right?
You don't like flying?
No, I like, but it's nice when a plane lands.
I agree. It's always the best part for me when I fly. Yeah. I agree.
So
and it's really like that because when you're present in your own life, you don't really have anything.
Right.
Except you have life. Right. So you have everything.
Right.
Right. And all the things on the outside that you have.
We need to learn to appreciate the life we have.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And it's because it's the big gift and it's the big treasure on the planet.
And take care of it with some good oil.
Yeah. Take care of it with good oil and enzymes and probiotics and good food and whole food and more plant-based. Yeah. And take care of nature, the environment. We're not doing a real good job of that because we feel discontent. Right. So then we don't care about the environment either.
Sure.
Each other, we don't do that so well with that either because we're discontent, so we don't do relationships well. Everything starts from me, by myself, being able to feel taken care of. Good?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I'm going to go sit and meditate. Maybe drink a little oil.
Yeah, you could just stand there.
Or you just stand here.
Yeah.
I don't know how I could have a more favorite interview. I mean, the guy's like, we all need to eat more seeds. No?
Yeah, no, that's you. That's your life, right?
Seeds and lots of seeds. So flax oil seeds. So cold pressed seed oil, right? For my project, I started a seed bank down in Haiti, and then we got a cold oil press. And so many of these crops, the value added, nutritional, medicinal, all these useful things for oils is absolutely extraordinary. And it's such an easy way to get nutrition and good fatty acids in your brain, in your body, in your mind. It's incredible.
So are you disagreeing with Udo?
No, I love Udo.
But I have a question.
Wait, what would I disagree with Udo about?
Just keep going.
I'm thinking it's going to be the same question I have. I'm curious. Go.
I have a question about cold pressing seeds. How many seeds do you need to make enough oil? Right?
How many Spartan races do you need to get enough people off the couch?
No, seriously.
No,
is it like a 100-pound bag of seeds?
No, actually, the oil returns, certain nuts and seeds have different higher oil content than others, right? If you're looking at like macadamia nuts versus flaxseed oil, the ratios are different, but so is the volume and the size of the nut. But it's not unrealistic at all.
What seeds have you cold pressed?
Sesame, flax.
How many sesame seeds to get like a little?
And fried oils.
It'd be like a thing to get like a thing.
Wow, so that big.
So Joe, you need to understand units of measure. It's a thing to get a thing.
Forgive me for not having cubic.
But here's
There's a lot of people on audio.
That's why seed oil is expensive.
So if you don't know why I'm laughing, Sefra just made a big circle with her arms and said you need a thing, and then made a little circle with her fingers and said to make
Those
a
are
thing.
scientific measurements, Johnny.
Clearly, it's like a butt.
all right.
But Sefra, am I saving the world by not eating seeds? I mean, you're harvesting seeds and putting them in a bank vault so that we don't run out of them. And yet you're encouraging everybody to go eat them all.
No. That's a backup for man-made and natural disasters.
God forbid, there's a disaster. Then there's a couple of
Right,
seeds.
but we told the world 25 years ago, go eat fish because, meat was bad. And now we've got no fish on the planet. So should
now
we go
you're
out
a
and
pescatarian if you eat fish because
So should we be going out and every person gathering up all of these seeds?
Colonel Nye, that's a very existential question that you're asking me there because, okay, I think
Well, you're the seed queen. I was just curious.
I think if people can incorporate more seeds and fatty acids and good nutrition in their diet, then that's a great thing. If you're taking away the last vestiges of an heirloom or a land race that's vastly going extinct, no, I probably wouldn't eat that last seed lot. But the fact is, the normal Vox Populi has access to seeds that are very readily available, like sesame and flax and macadamia and chia. And if they're grown in organic and fair trade and regenerative practices, then eat away, my friends, because you should just go to the bathroom outside and not into your drinking water in the toilet so that you can replant those seeds and then the birds can have more. You're welcome.
A great example, though, of what Tim's referencing there, I think, is when we, instead of saying, let's grow everything in a healthy way, let's have, good balance, suddenly it's like we only eat quinoa. And so we go down and we grow all the quinoa in the world because it's suddenly very commercialized.
Oh, that was actually a bad situation.
But we're destroying communities who've relied on it. So
absolutely.
I want to ask, so you're talking about something to add in. He also talked about things to cut out that are going to save our lives.
Fry food, fry your health.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought it was really interesting because all of us, I come from an Italian household, oil and garlic started every meal.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've instituted a policy since I met with them. I mean, I kind of knew. I had heard for years that you shouldn't heat up oil. It shouldn't be in plastic. It shouldn't be sitting in light. The canola oils aren't good oils. You want to get real oil. And so I think we all agree on that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Different oils have different burn temperatures.
I want to just take
it's like a real science.
What you're talking about, just a half a second here. My wife, who's sitting off camera here, recently lost a significant amount of weight.
She looks great.
But we did that. She did that, right? We cut out oils, correct? So long before we saw this, and all the cooking that was done, which I did, was done in broth.
Sure.
Or chicken broth, beef broth sometimes, but mostly chicken broth instead of the oils. And that's what we ate, and it was wonderful.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, so we got rid of all of those oils.
But I would, our policy now in the house is to cook in water, right?
Yeah.
Steam it like a wok, and then pour oil on afterwards. And because I'm not against the oil. I'm just against now
heating it.
Heating it,
Sure.
There's certain properties in oils and things that go from having extreme health benefits if they go above a certain temperature that they then become like carcinogenic, right? So like, especially when you're talking about these different seed oils, it's like a very exact science that sunflower oil can heat up higher than peanut oil, can heat up higher than sesame oil. So it's a huge range. But obviously with all of our friends and the fruitarians that you love and all these people that go raw, if you can have that content without it going through that chemistry-wise change, I think it's a lot better for you. So I think that's a great idea.
Here's what I always think, and tell me if you agree. The closer the food can be to its or natural state, the better. I mean, most of the things we do with food, think about how it occurred over the years, right? The sandwich was invented by the Earl of Sandwich because he was gambling and he needed to grab the food quick and be able to hold it in his hands.
That's a great story.
It wasn't like nutritionists were sitting around saying, man, if we had a sandwich, that would be the perfect food for the human being.
People ask me all the time, they say, okay, how should I lose weight? And I say, eat food and drink water. And they say, well, that's what I do. I say, no, you don't. Food is fruit, vegetables, meat if you're going to eat meat, as close to its natural form. Like prepared as little. You have to cook meat, but cook it. Don't lather it in sauce and I just say anything.
Oh, salt's good for you.
But anything other than fruit, vegetables, and meat if you're going to eat it is cake. Bread is cake. Orange juice is cake. Cake is cake. Beer is cake. I'm not saying never have cake, but people get up and they have cake for breakfast, right? Because they have pancakes and they have syrup and they have cereal. Yeah. And then they have cake for lunch because they have a burger with cheese on it and French fries. And then they have cake for dinner, their mashed potatoes and all these things. And then they have a piece of cake to reward themselves for all that stuff they ate. So I have no problem with cake, but 90% of what we call food is actually cake.
I'm gonna create a
Let
visual
there
for
be
that.
cake.
Let there be cake. With that said,
thanks very much for being with us today. Spartan Up Podcast, we love you being with us. After this, you're going to find out how to be with us all the time. Thanks so much.
Eat seeds.
Eat seeds.
This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Aftershocks. Be open and hear it all with Aftershocks open-ear headphones. They deliver situational awareness and comfort that's unmatched by traditional in-ear or over-the-ear headphones. Go to spartan.aftershocks.com and you can save $50 off a wireless headphone bundle. Thanks for listening to Spartan Up. If you like our show, spread the word. Then subscribe wherever you watch or listen so you don't miss an episode. We'll be back here every Tuesday with Joe and the team, sharing interviews with high achievers. Then stay on track with quick hits of motivation and advice. Wednesdays, Spartan Mind with Dr. Laura Pence. Thursdays, Spartan Way with Zach Evanesh. Sundays, Spartan Health with Dr. Nada Milosevic. And if you're looking for even more, we've got tons of articles at spartan.life.com. See you next week.